Good player, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I've seen Everton fans come out, and I've seen Newcastle fans come out and say, this is a disgraceful move by the cartel clubs. And we all know what they mean by that. The traditional top six barring City, the cartel clubs. And they believe that the Premier League are enforcing these rules. So the clubs that are trying to catch them are forced into selling their players cheaper to the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, etc. Do you see this as an act of a cartel on the Premier League trying to damage Newcastle, or is this just football?
I mean, when people say things like cartel club, I get where they're coming from, but we were in for there were rumors before, a season or 2 seasons ago, we were in for Alexander Isak. It's not like we were not going for him before. He had always been on Arsenal's radar. Now, did we get him? We did not. Newcastle got him. And if Newcastle has an issue where they need to sell, this is not cartel. This is just football. He's been on our list. It's like it's a bunch of players that are. Another player that was on our list before, like Ramsdale, was Raya. We couldn't get Raya, so we went for Ramsdale. And when the opportunity came, they went back for Raya. So, I mean, Isak is a good striker. I think he can do well at Arsenal with Arteta. But like I said, it's not a cartel thing to me. It's football. I mean, if they wanted a player from us, if ESR is up for sale and Newcastle wants him, is that cartel football? Like, if you want to get ESR, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it is what it is. If you can't keep the player and another team can get him, as long as we're not breaking FFP rules, as long as Arsenal is not doing anything illegal, as long as we're not, I mean, it's all rumors that we're in for him, but as long as we're not breaking any rules, I don't see anything as a cartel thing there. I think people are they're making much ado about nothing. That's my opinion.
God forbid that the Saudi-backed Newcastle can come in and just buy the Premier League. What a shame. Oh, no. What a fucking joke.
I just look at
Newcastle fans getting annoyed by this is crazy. Their owner literally has public executions. So thank God the Premier League is putting a stop to this. Like, I wish this was around when Man City came in, because then they wouldn't be able to get what they've done now. Imagine how crazy it would be if Mohammed bin Salman could come in and drop $1 billion and then just win the Premier League. It would be a disgrace. So fuck Newcastle and fuck oil buddy and fuck state back club.
You big clubs like Liverpool and Brighton and taking McAllister from Brighton. Dio, you guys are taking Isak. At least Chelsea, we take from the smaller clubs, but we also give. You know what I'm saying? We give.
What are you talking about?
This is not charity, bro. This is not charity. What are we doing here?
Look how many players in the Premier League are playing that come from Cobham. We be dishing it out to everyone. You guys want to
Carrington. I got Carrington.
Stop it. So do you know what I would say about the Newcastle? When I see this cartel club thing, it's this. Right, Newcastle fans have got to wake up and smell the coffee. When they first got the new owners, and I wasn't averse to it happening. I really wasn't. And they got the new owners. And I remember most Newcastle fans that came on our show, I listened to a lot of Newcastle podcasts, listened to Newcastle fans phone into shows. They all said very similar things. Well, we know this is going to take us about 10 years to get to the top. That was 2 years ago. Now suddenly they're moaning that they've hit a little bit of a wall. But why have they hit a wall? That's because they've fouled this year. If they would have got out of the Champions League group, if they were back in the Champions League again next season, they wouldn't have spending issues. And it's not act, by the way, like Arsenal. And let's just take Arsenal as an example. One, when they knocked down their stadium and had to build a new one, look how many teams pillaged and stole their squad. They got done. City took a lot. United took Van Persie. All of us. Liverpool took like Oxlade-Chamberlain. They got their squads ransacked. Now Arsenal are spending a lot of money. They're renewing a lot of contracts of players, which we haven't really seen Arsenal do in the Premier League era when they've been a good team.
That's true.
But why are they able to do it? Because the money they started spending 3 or 4 years ago has resulted in Champions League qualification, title contention, Champions League quarterfinals. Therefore, they're bringing in more money to be able to continue to buy and continue to renew contracts. The only reason that the only reason that Everton, Leicester, and Newcastle are currently in a position of one of them is being charged, the other ones are close to like breaching it, that's why they've got to sell, is because they've thrown money at a project to get into the Champions League and to win major trophies. And so far they've failed. I hate this like moving of the goalposts. Like, oh yeah, my club's going for it. I love seeing this ambition. Yes, but you can't just keep spending like that forever. Otherwise, you'll go out of business. You'll go out, and maybe not. Maybe you will get an owner that will keep backing it and keep backing it. But most of these billionaire owners, by the way, don't. A lot of owners of these clubs across the Europe who have got billionaire owners who start spending. Most of them don't see it through like Sheikh Mansour. Most of them don't do what Roman did. I just find it absolutely laughable. They're calling this like a cartel move, like it's all been orchestrated by Arsenal. No, if you would have had a better season this year, Newcastle, none of your players would be up for grabs. That's just football. And you look at Girona. If Girona would have maintained, they're not going to win the league now. If they'd have maintained it and won the league, they would have had a much better chance of holding on to their better players. Now they're dropping off, and they'll probably make the top 4 Champions League. They might not. If they don't make the top 4, if they don't make Champions League, most of their top players are going to go. It's how football's always been.
Are we just forgetting that Alexander Isak might just want this move to Arsenal? Like none of these.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like a boy
Arsenal. Like literally, like we need to keep remembering that these players, they grew up watching the likes of United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal playing Champions League football. That's why people want to move to like the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, because of the name, because of the heritage that they has. And that's just a fact that a lot of these clubs have got to deal with. It's as simple as that.
It's also like a fact. Like,
yeah.
If you look at these
By the way,
right? Like we have like players like Paqueta, for example, playing at West Ham. No disrespect to West Ham, but Paqueta, bro, they beat the likes of West Ham, Newcastle. Isak went for 60 million. Newcastle that season finished like 10th. When is another team in the other league that finishes in 10th place able to go out and spend 70 million and beat other top European clubs for a player like that? So
exactly.
It's because of us.
It's exactly that. And on top of that, they're also reaping what they sowed. So when all the new TV money came in, it became very hard to take the best players from your Evertons, your West Hams, your mid-table teams, because they didn't need your money. But then what happened is, as they became more ambitious, everyone in Europe upped their prices because they did. So 15 years ago, you could have turned around and got West Ham's best player generally for 18, 19, 20 million pounds. Suddenly there was a 60 to 80 million pound premium. In fact, with Declan Rice, it went up to 100 million. So all that then happens is that you then get charged ridiculous amount of money from other teams to buy people. But of course, you don't have the income. And someone put a thing in here saying, I'm Terry, but United are £1 billion in debt. How can they keep spending? Because we have one of the biggest incomes in the world because of our success and our growth over 140 years. That's why we can have that debt and still be able to spend because the income is there. Brighton turnover £230 million a year up to their last trading accounts. Man, all of the traditional top 6 spend more than £100 million more than that just on wages at their clubs. But we haven't just, you could argue City have, you can argue a little bit of Chelsea's, but the others, it's just been organically grown over decades. And I keep saying this, I'm not a fan of every element of FFP. I think it needs reform. But if you're a Brighton fan, if you're an Everton fan, if you're a Leicester fan, and you want to become Man United, buckle down. When we were your size, it was probably 1950s. It's going to take you years to get there. And just that's it. And it's not a dig. It's just the truth of the matter. You're not going to be able to catch us up in a year or two. You're not going to be able to spend like we spend because we've built it up over generations. And I've always said it before, I've got a lot of respect for American sports. I don't like the way they do it, though, where the worst team gets the best draft picks and all of this. I like the idea that if you're a successful and well-run club, and even though we've been awful for the last decade or so, Man United, over a 140-year period, it's been good. You deserve to reap the rewards for years of success. You deserve that. And if you want to catch it up, run your club successfully. And Everton and Leicester and Forest and potentially Newcastle, if it all goes, I wouldn't say Newcastle were that bad. The reason that you're getting all these breaches and points fine is because your club hasn't been run well. You went for it. You bought the wrong players. You hired the wrong managers. You failed. And now you're reaping you're reaping what you sow.